Hey everyone, this is Zoas, not Casuals, and today I'm bringing you a special Genshin Impact tier list video where I'm gonna go over every single character's passive talent in the game, and I'm gonna rank them from best to worst in terms of value that they bring to your account. Now, passive talents are unlocked as soon as you unlock the character. If you go in your talent sheet here, you simply click talent, and it is always the last one down here. Now, every single character has one of these, except the Traveler, which doesn't have any. Now, I'm going to go over every single one of them and explain what they do and why I think some of them are much better than others. So the first and best passive talent in the game belongs to Mona. Now, Mona's Principium of Astrology basically means that when you're crafting weapon ascension material at the alchemy bench, there's a 25% chance that you refund a portion of the materials used. Now, what that means is that when you are farming weapons ascension material in the domains by spending resin, and you're going to get green and blue rarity, and you're trying to transform them into higher rarity, so into blue or purple rarity, you have a chance of refunding some of these materials when crafting. So this is one of only two passive talents that actually restores a resource that costs resin, and this is definitely the most valuable of the two. So Mona comes into first place by basically giving you a small amount of free resin value with her talent. In second place comes Xingqiu, which also has a very similar talent, but this one refunds 25% of the material used when crafting character talent materials. So those are the talent books that you will also farm in domains, and that also cost resin. So again, this comes as a resin value for free on your account and refunds you something that usually would cost resin to farm. So it's a small amount, but it's better than nothing, and it comes into second place because it is one of only two talents that restore a resin value. And in third place, we have Sucrose. Her talent gives you a chance of obtaining double the product, 10% chance to be exact, when you are crafting weapon enhancement materials. So those are the materials that you'll farm by hunting the mobs that are in your F1 adventurer book. These are the chaos cores and the insignias from the factory agents and all these kinds of materials. Now, these materials do not cost resin to farm, but there is a limit of the amount of monsters of this type that you can farm every single day. So this comes into third place because basically it's both saves you a lot of time and gives you a little bit of extra value, so that if you're capped onto farming these materials every single day, this talent basically gives you a little bit more into that aspect. In fourth place comes one of our crowd favorite, Lisa, who has the best climbing sound in the game, but also has a talent that will give you 20% chance of refunding portion of crafting materials used when crafting potions. Now, potions can be crafted at the alchemy bench as well, and they usually cost materials that you find in the open world, such as like frogs and different kind of plants and herbs. So none of these materials cost resin to farm, and they are very easy to farm in very large amount. But again, this is a very big time saver because some of these potions give very big boost to elemental damage or elemental resistance, and can become very handy when you're playing in the open world and fighting some of the world bosses. In fifth place comes our man Diluc, who is also a crowd favorite for different reasons, and his talent basically refunds 15% of the ores used when crafting claymore type weapons. Now, Prototype Animus is one of the best claymores in the game, and you can craft it many times to refine it. Now, refunding 50% of the ores means that you're going to get a lot of your crystals and white iron ores back, and those are farmable but in limited quantities every day, and probably one of the most valuable resources in this game. So Diluc really gives you a really nice boost here if you are crafting these kind of claymores for your characters by giving you a little bit of extra ore. Now, a special mention here to one of the new characters, Xiangling, coming out shortly at some point, who also does the same effect for polearms, which is going to be as valuable. Now, in sixth place comes the latest and most wanted hero right now in the game, Klee. Klee gives a very special bonus that basically displays the location of nearby resources that are unique to Mondstadt on the minimap. What that means is that when you are in Mondstadt and you're walking around, flying around, whatever, you'll see a little hand icon on your minimap when there's a special resource that is very unique to that area. Now, this includes quite a few resources, but some of these are very hard to find or very annoying to find, so this is a very helpful tip. Now, in seventh place comes Qiqi, which does a very similar talent to Klee. Our zombie girl here allows you to do the exact same thing, but for resources that are unique to Liu. Now, the only difference will be that with this talent, you'll have the little hand icon on your minimap when you're finding materials such as core lapis, violet grass, and such of the kind that you can find only in that region. So again, this is very helpful and very time saving for you finding these resources because some of them can be quite tricky to find. In 8th position, we have Ningguang, which does a very similar thing, but for ores. Now, she basically displays location of iron, white iron, crystal ore, and some magical crystal ores on the minimap when you're going around. Now, this includes any and every zone, and it's going to be very useful, especially because you're going to be needing to farm a lot of this for both crafting weapons and getting enhancement materials to level up your weapons. So Ningguang comes into a very high tier here because this is a very useful thing, and you're going to be farming ores more than a lot of other materials as the game progresses. So she is very valuable, and some could even say that she's more valuable than Klee and Qiqi, but she's in a very similar category of helping you farm in the open world. Now, next up comes a character that I sadly do not have, Chongyun. Now, his passive ability is going to be pretty straightforward, and there's going to be 4 characters with this ability, which are all pretty much equal. It basically means that when you're dispatched into an expedition in Liu, the time consumed is reduced by 25%, so basically you can do the expeditions slightly faster. Now obviously it's hard to use a character and use this bonus at the same time, but when you're going to bed, you can queue up a 12-hour expedition and it will be reduced to 9 hours, so it basically will give you a little bit more time and will grant you extra materials in that way. So this again, a very valuable talent because again, it's kind of like free resources if managed well. Now the next character is Keqing, which is also the exact same thing in Liu as well, and gives again very good bonuses for that, but Keqing is going to be used primarily as DPS so in most parties, so this comes as a little bit less valuable because of how much she is used, but you can do it when you're sleeping and manage to get the bonus out from there as well. Now next up again is going to be Bennet with the exact same talent, but this one for Mondstadt. So expeditions that are in the region of Mondstadt will be reduced by 25%. Again, this is going to be great, extra value, very free, very good. Lastly, we have Fischl, which again, exact same thing as Bennet in Mondstadt. So that gives you a total of 4 characters that you can send on an expedition and that have a reduced timing. So when you're going to bed, it's very good that you try and use these 4 characters so that you can wake up and have your expeditions basically ready already. Then you can send them during the day when you're at work or something. You can work it out depending on your schedule, but getting 25% time consumption reduced for the expedition will give you basically 25% more resources, which you can get Mora, crystals, and ingredients from in a very high quantity. So this is again very good talents. Now in 13th place comes Xiangling with her cooking talent, which basically will give you a chance of receiving double the product when you're cooking attack boosting dishes. Now this is a very good talent. Some could say it could place higher in my tier list. Obviously my tier list is very subjective here, but the thing is that these ingredients come in very high quantity and they're really not that hard to find. Most people don't even use food for a while, especially not attack boosting food. It's usually for bosses and stuff. But if you happen to use some, this is very good because again, it will save you farming time by giving you basically free copies of what you're crafting once in a while. Again, very valuable, very simple. Just use her when you're cooking attack buff items. Next, 14th place, Jean with a very similar talent, but this time it's when you're crafting food with restorative effects, so healing food. Now these are also more often used because you're going to be healing or resing with these kind of food. So again, this is a very good talent, probably as valuable as any other cooking talent, but maybe slightly higher because of the fact that it's restorative. And very useful that when you're crafting any kind of healing food, you should use Jean in there if you have her. Now, if you don't have her, well, you definitely have Barbara, which is very easy to get right now. So again, same exact effect. When cooking food, you're getting a perfect cooking, of course, that has a restorative effect. You'll have a 12% chance of obtaining double of that product. Again, very great value, very simple, very good. Lastly, we have Noelle, who has, again, a cooking talent, but this one for defense boosting dishes. Now, there's a lot less of these kind of dishes that people craft, but again, valuable, free, saves you a little bit of time on farming if you do use her when crafting food. Now, approaching the last few characters of our tier list here, we have Razor, who basically just decreases the stamina consumption when you're sprinting with any character in the open world. Now, these do not stack with each other, but this is very good to have in your party if you're using Razor or if you're trying to do a speed comp where you're trying to just move around the world and find chests. This will help you by reducing the stamina consumption. Now, sprinting is not the best way of traveling. Usually dashing is a bit better, but this kind of works there as well. So again, this is going to be good to save you a little bit of time, but it doesn't really give you any kind of value in terms of resources. So every single talent coming up from now on is going to be something similar to this. They're all really useful to have in the party if you do, but they're not worth putting in your party unless for specific reasons or you're traveling in the open world for a long time. Now Kaeya is next, who has the exact same talent as Razor. These again don't stack with each other, so one or the other in your party will give you that effect. And again, it's really just good for traveling the world. Next up, Venti has, again, similar stamina consumption reduction by 20%, but this time when gliding. Now, gliding is very fun and very common in this game, so this will permit you to glide longer and further. Now, this one becomes very handy when trying to glide to the secret island when you have high stamina. With Venti, it will allow you basically to glide longer and hopefully reach the island or further destinations around the world when you're traveling faster without actually having to fall and start again or start walking. Next, Amber, with the exact same talent as Venti, again, reducing the stamina when gliding. Again, very good. You're going to get her right away. She's free, obviously. So this is going to be good to travel at the beginning, especially when you have low stamina. And eventually, you might not care much about this anymore, but it's always fun, especially when there's like these time trial events where you're gliding and stuff. This could be coming in handy in this situation. And it's free. Everybody has her. So it's worth using if you need a long gliding time. Now, last but not least, we have Beidou. Now, Beidou is an amazing character, but her talent here is reducing the stamina consumption when swimming. Now, there's not a lot of instances in this game where you need to swim for long periods of time. Not really where you have to swim easy. Like, swimming is quite treacherous in this game and quite slow. With Beidou, it becomes a little bit easier and a little bit better. So if you need to swim for long periods of time, Beidou is your girl. I mean, she is a pirate after all, right? Now, very last one, which is an extra, you basically have Xiao here, who is a character that will be coming shortly at some point in the game. A very good character, of course, and he has a very specific talent here that decreases the party members' falling damage by 30%. Now, of course, this sounds great, but it's really hard to take falling damage in this game because you can basically just attack, and that makes you do a charge attack downwards and kind of not take damage or almost not damage. So this comes as probably much the most useless talent of them all, but again, really not something that it really matters and kind of useful if you're doing a lot of climbing, jumping, or fighting in the air and you like falling and taking damage. So guys, that's about it for my tier list for all the talent passives. Of course, it's subjective, some are better than others, but I'm really positive that the ones especially that you can use in the crafting station here, as you can see, when you're using someone like Xingqiu here, where you're gonna get an extra bonus getting some material from RESIN, as well as the one from Mona, which will apply to these materials, and the one from Sucrose, who will apply to these materials. Just pay notice, when this is flashing right here, you can click it, go on the character, and get the bonus that it says here. And again, lastly, one here that was Lisa, as we saw here. There we go. So these are really valuable. Same for cooking, same for blacksmith. All of these are really useful, and it's really worthy to keep eye on these characters. And someone like Xingqiu and eventually Mona would be very valuable to unlock, as well as Sucrose, of course, because the value that they give is absolutely amazing, especially the ones who give resin value, because there's nothing else in this game that kind of gives free resin that way. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Hopefully you enjoy our channel. We have over 50 Genshin Impact guides, character guides. We stream twice a day, and we love this game, and we love you guys. So hopefully you enjoy and you subscribe to watch more of our content. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.